For my second offensive game ball of week 2 of the 2020 NFL regular season, we are going to brand new Buffalo Bills wide receiver, Stefon Diggs. Just an absolutely fantastic performance. He had 8 receptions, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, and it wasn't even the production that he had on his own. It was just the impact that we're seeing him have on a week-to-week basis now on the rest of these Bills receivers that were sorely missing last year. 3 other players in this Bills receiving core had 35-plus yard receptions. John Brown had 1, Isaiah McKenzie had 1, Dawson Knox had 1. This field has just opened up so much more now with the acquisition of Stefon Diggs, and rightfully so. You don't trade a 1, a 4, a 5, and a 6 for a guy if you don't expect him to have a huge impact on your offense. And Stefon Diggs, thus far, if week 2 is any indication, he is most certainly going to have that effect on the Bills as he's a recipient of one of my game balls. And now we're going to hop into the film and see why I think he was so easily able to execute at such a high level this past week. And first things first, if you guys are unfamiliar or interested in just hearing, what I think makes Diggs so special on a week-to-week basis and has just made him such a great pro to this point, I highly suggest you go check out my NFL Top 100 series video of him, in which we review way more film than we do in this video. I believe I go 20 minutes in that one. I'll link that in the top right of your screen. Go check that out after this video is done, but you'll hear me talk about a lot about his release and route running in that video. Here we're just gonna look at it a couple times, in which this play you're gonna have what is initially a play action play, right? So they're trying to make the Dolphins defense think that this is a run play, and Stefon Diggs, he does a great job of selling it. Obviously, he was being mirrored by the rookie Noah Igbinoghene, number 23 out here all day. So what does he do? He knows in his head that the rookie, he's probably peeking into the backfield. So instead of releasing off the line with some hard vertical release in which, he might be pushing deep or driving towards the outside hip, or, instead of kind of jabbing and trying to fake him out in some way, what Diggs does is he just kind of lazily saunters off the line of scrimmage, in which what you'd think initially, in my opinion, is that he's just going to come stalk block me, right? And as you can see, Noah, his eyes are peeking in the backfield, because if this is a run play, he's not just going to go with Diggs. He's obviously going to come and try it and fill and make a play off the end of that line of scrimmage. Well, what does Diggs do such a great job of doing? He knows the timing of this whole play fake in the backfield. And look at how, just as Josh Allen is about to kind of pull the ball and throw it, look at how Diggs, that's just when he starts to, put that hard left foot in the ground and ultimately break it across the inside, put on the jets, and make just a beautiful 25-yard catch across the middle. Just a great play, in which, again, it's not a crazy release where he's, as I said, jab stepping or, doing anything like that. It's just a nice job of knowing exactly what's going on in the backfield and how can I use that to my advantage, because that is what makes Diggs so special. He does a great job at making you think he's doing anything that he possibly could except what he actually is doing. And when you're playing that chess match like that against Diggs, it's tough, especially when he is so keyed in, as you see here. Again, he's just going to have a nice little I'll actually play it from this first view because I think you get a better view. He's not coming hard inside, he's not going hard outside and jabbing back in. He is just kind of lazily coming off the line of scrimmage, and then boom, once Allen goes for that play fake, there goes Diggs, there goes the separation, and there goes just a nice 25-yard reception to get the Bills off their own doorstep. Just a great play that's how you want to start a drive if you're Buffalo and Stefon Diggs. And typically when I'm talking about Stefon Diggs in terms of his quick and smooth footwork, usually it is in terms of his release or in terms of his route running ability. But in this game, he was showing off some agility and ability to make plays after the catches. What you're going to see here is the Bills, they're in the red zone. They're going to have Diggs run an out route here in which, it's designed to be a little bit of a pick play to create some separation. Well, look at how Diggs, once he catches the ball, we know he just does a great job planting with that inside foot, pivoting around, and ultimately just doing an absolutely great job to turn what was a 1st and 10 into a 2nd and 2, in which he makes something out of nothing, essentially. A play that looked like he was going to be tackled for a 2-yard gain. He's able to just do a great job of planting that inside left foot, pivoting off of it, and ultimately almost getting a first down there, in which instead he's just going to put the Bills in a better position to get a first down and ultimately score later on this drive. Just great stuff in terms of making defender miss and making a play in space by Diggs. And here's another great example of Diggs just doing a phenomenal job of transitioning from receiver to runner and ultimately picking up extra yards on the ground that I'm not sure that he often does. In which, what you're going to see here is he makes one guy miss, two guys miss, and ultimately a third guy miss. Is he's able to turn what was a 1st and 10 into a very easy second and one actually, in with the 9-yard reception. It's just a great play where, it's maybe not a play that Diggs makes super often. Usually he's more of a just straight receiving guy, right? He's not always making guys miss on the ground afterwards. Well, this game he most certainly was. 5.2 yards after the catch per reception, which if you multiply that out, that's 42 yards after the catch in the entire game. That's really fantastic for a guy like Diggs, who, this isn't his calling card, but hey, if he's going to make guys miss like this in Buffalo now, it's just going to be another added dimension to this already pretty scary looking offense. And this next play here by Diggs is most certainly an interesting one, right? I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to call it, whether it was improvisation, release, contact balance, etc. I ultimately just decided to end on awareness, right? As what you're going to see here is Diggs. He's going to run a very similar crossing route to that first one we saw, in which instead of appearing to stalk block him, though, what he does is hit him with a nice hard jab step with that left foot and then breaking it inside. Well, unlike that first one, guess who's sitting to the inside, flaring out to the flats to try and cover Devin Singletary? Kyle Van Noy is, right? So what happens? Diggs ends up getting sandwiched between two Dolphins. Well, on a play there that might be dead for most receivers, what I want you to see is how Diggs just does a great job of kind of absorbing that contact, playing off of it, and ultimately bouncing back outside of both Van Noy and Noah there, as he's ultimately, he kind of has the heads up awareness. He has the wherewithal to hey, I not only set a pick there that might get Devin Singletary wide open, but if I continue running this route, even just somewhere to this vacant area, I don't even know if this was supposed to be the designed route, but that's exactly what Diggs runs, right? As you're going to see, he very quickly puts that hand up. He calls for the ball. Josh Allen, he puts it right on target, and then he punts it away to to the stands, in which, it's just a nice play on, I don't even want to call it broken coverage. It was just a mistake by Van Noy and Noah there, in terms of, hey, he accidentally set a pick for his own guy. Diggs kind of played off it, did a nice job of not quitting on the play, ultimately having the heads up awareness to go make a play and put 6 points on the board. Just a solid play there by Diggs. And this next one here is when we get into the fun stuff. As I talked about how great Diggs is as a route runner. Again, if you want to hear me go more in depth about that, check out the video in the top right, my top 100 one of him. But here you're just going to have a beautiful route in which, again, he wind up on Noah I. What you're going to see is he's going to sell him on an inward breaking route. But look at how once Noah starts to bite, once he gets those hips facing this opposing sideline, essentially squared up to the sideline. Look at how Diggs just does a great job at really breaking that off and flipping his hips back towards the outside, creating just a ton of separation there, in which now he's going to try and work this kind of empty zone there towards this sideline. And what you're going to see is Josh Allen, he puts the ball up in a spot where, you'd like it to be where only Diggs can get it, but he puts it right in prime territory for the Dolphins to pick it off, but not when Stefon Diggs is the one going up for the catch. He's fantastic in these kind of contested catch situations, in which it's a jump ball, 50-50 ball, and you wouldn't expect that out of a guy of his stature, but he most certainly is able to make these plays, and he's able to make them on a consistent basis. Not only does he create the separation, but as you see there, just great job climbing the ladder, going up, showing off the hands, and ultimately showing up the concentration to pull down a really beautiful contested grab there for the first down. And talking about body control and concentration, here's just a beautiful one by Diggs, again, where he's going to be lined up at the top of your screen. But look at how just off the snap, that hard jab out and then breaks in. Ultimately, though, Noah, he doesn't bite on it this time. There's essentially no separation there, but again, Diggs is just such a fantastic receiver in terms of his ability to contort his body and really just concentrate on that ball, as well as getting both feet in bounds, despite the fact that he's completely draped all over by Noah I. It's just a beautiful play in which you pick up 21 yards despite being absolutely smothered. This is something that Josh Allen really hasn't had before in his career. Somebody who can go and make these types of plays where, I don't even want to call this a 50-50 ball. This is about a 70-30 ball for Noah versus Diggs. But Diggs is just that good. That's why, as I said earlier, that's why they traded all that draft capital for him. That's why he makes all the money he does, and that's why he is the man that he is, because plays like these, that's just a fantastic job of going and getting the ball and ultimately extending the drive for the Bills. And last but not least, the reason the Bills went out to get Stefon Diggs, because with a quarterback like Josh Allen, who has one of the strongest arms in the league, you want to pair him up with one of the league's best deep threats, and that most certainly is Stefon Diggs. He's been kind of chopping up the rookie Noah Igbinoghene all on this short and intermediate stuff all game. But look at how he's going to use that to his advantage now in the fourth quarter, and again, just manipulate Noah in terms of thinking that he's running something that he's not. What you're going to see off the snap is a simple outside vertical release in which this doesn't look like anything special, right? But watch how Diggs here coming up. He's going to hit a nice little stutter step to the point that Noah, he thinks it's a comeback route. He thinks it's a curl route. He thinks it could be an out route. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's something breaking back towards the football and probably towards the sticks, right? Well, that's exactly what it's not. As what you have is a beautiful stutter step, getting the rookie to bite, and ultimately probably having the Dolphins coaching staff left wondering why the heck didn't we put Xavier Howard on this man when we had the chance. Just an absolutely beautiful play in which you see the manipulation, you see the route running, you see everything kind of put into one, you see the hands. Unfortunately, you didn't get a chance to see the yards after the catch, but just an all-in-all beautiful play that really encapsulates not only why the Bills went out and got him, but why he got a week 2 game ball here on Mic'd Up Football. Just a great play, just a great game, just a great everything by Stefon Diggs. And as always, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you not only leave a thumbs up, but also leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know, do you agree that Stefon Diggs, he's deserving of a game ball from this week? Or if you watch this game, do you think there was a better candidate? Josh Allen, 24 for 35 for 415 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's most certainly a game ball worthy performance, but ultimately I don't think that performance is there unless you have a guy like Stefon Diggs commanding so much attention and ultimately able to defeat that attention on such a regular basis. Of course, you could say, Mike Gesicki had a fantastic game for the Dolphins, but I do think that Diggs was unmatched in terms of he was by far the best player on the field last Sunday, and that's why he got a game ball. So if you enjoyed this video, if you want to see other guys get game balls in week 2, in week 3, back in week 1, throughout the entire rest of the season, subscribe. Not only are there going to be game balls handed out each and every week, there's going to be other content on the channel, whether it's my top 100 series, my preview and prediction series, a bunch of other stuff that any football fan should be able to enjoy. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. I'm mic'd up. Now I'm mic'ing out. Peace, guys.